Shabbat Shalom and welcome everybody to our service. I'm Rabbi Javier Carapan and I am joined by a rather large group of people today, musicians. See if I can go in order. So farthest away from me is Michael O'Shiver, then Susie Adams, Larry Meyer, Howard Pittler, and Leslie Zucker. We also have our technical team in the back, which is rather large today too. We were prepared to be outdoors, so we had extra equipment. But we are inside because it's beautiful outside now.
Because it's beautiful, yes.
But it's still a little wet outside.
You would need a rowboat. You would need to sit in rowboats in that yard.
As always, we'll like to thank our BOW committee, bringing us beyond our walls, and also to our digital docents who are managing our streaming. If you are technically inclined and would like to volunteer and help with the BOW committee, please reach out to our office and we'll put you on the list and we'll train you and you will be behind the screen here or at home. So we'll love to have you. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, you can find the link to the prayer book pages, PDF, and other information in the comments section. If you are joining us on the virtual sanctuary, the links to the PDF is above the player, and all other links are in your e-news. And if you are here with us, you will find prayer books in front of you, in the pew in front of you. And if you have 2 sets of numbers, we'll be calling the pages in the brackets.
And I left something out of that script. Also, if we don't call a page, just turn the page, because it means that we're going in order and there's not a big jump. So if we just go right from one prayer into another, just turn the page.
Some things we made them easier for you at home because we compiled the PDF with only what you need. So at home, you just go to the next page. Here, sometimes you have to skip a couple of pages. So we want to make sure that everybody has access in the different points that you might be joining us. But if you are on Facebook Live and would like to say Shabbat Shalom, we invite you to type that in the comment lines. And don't forget to click return. And also don't forget to tell us where you're watching from. geographically speaking. So maybe in your kitchen, but where is your kitchen? If you are at home and need immediate technical assistance, please write down this number, which is 913-303-1134. And that is Tal, our technical assistance line. You will need it if you get disconnected or something happens. You won't be able to go back, on the chat and find it. So have it handy as well. It's also on the e-news that you received this morning. Again, welcome everybody, those online and in person as we gather for this Shabbat. We welcome Shabbat together on page 120 as we light the Shabbat candles. If you have candles at home, go ahead and light the candles and join us in the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom. We continue welcoming Shabbat together on page 130. So we join our voices in the opening lines of Psalm 95, Lechu Neranena. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena l'Adonai. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena l'Adonai. Naria, Naria, letzur ishenu, nekad lafanav betodah. Naria, Naria, letzur ishenu, bismirot naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. On page 138, we continue together with Lechadodi. Today we're doing that page 138 and then the last stanza. No reason, just because. Lechadodi, Mikrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nekavela. Lechadodi, Mikrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Nekavela.
שמוע וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיכל אדוני אחד ושמוע אחד, לשם תפארת ולתהילה
לחדותי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לחדותי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה.
לחדותי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לחדותי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלאך מלוכה, ומצאי מתוך ההפכה, רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה, יחול יחמול עלי חמלה. לחדותי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התנערי מעפר קומי, לבשי בגדי תפארתך עמי, על יד איש בן ישי בתלחמי, קורבה אל נפשי גאלה לחדותי, לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה, לחדותי, לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה.
בואי ושלום עטרת מעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה,
לחדותי, לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה, לחדותי, לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. If you're just joining us, we have a large group. Today is our Mizmor Shir Shabbat,
Yes.
and we will introduce them again at the end. So if you wonder who everybody is, we'll let you know later. Have a big group today. On page 147, we continue together. O God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthermost star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Oh, let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence. page 158, we join singing together, Mi Chamocha. Mi Chamocha va'elim Adonai, Mi Chamocha nenar b'kodesh, Nora te'ilot, Oseh Peleh, Oseh Peleh. Mi chamocha va'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nenar b'kodesh, Nora te'ilot, Oseh Peleh, Oseh Peleh, Oseh Peleh.
Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Hashkiveinu.
Hashkiveinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkiveinu, Leshalom, Le'amideinu, Shomreinu lechayim, Ufros aleinu, Sukat shlomecha. Hashkiveinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkiveinu, Leshalom.
Let there be love,
Let there be love
and
understanding among
Let there be
us.
peace,
Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm.
Let there be love,
Let there be love and
understanding
among
Let
us.
peace and friendship
Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the street. Shabbat has arrived in the world. Scattered in a song in the silence of the night, and eternity honors the day. להגיד תהילתך. אדוני שפתי תפתח, ופי יגיד תהילתך.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon gomel chasadim tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הגשם, מחלקל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות ומדאוג מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהוללוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Ata Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Ata Tasim Leolam. Ki Ata Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Ki Ata Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom.
we gather this Shabbat, we offer a prayer for those in need of healing. For those of you joining us virtually, you may have access to the Misheberach list through the e-news that you received this morning. You can also follow the link in the comments. If you like to offer names, we invite you to type them in the comments so we can all see them. So please go ahead and start typing. And you type with your voices here inside. So. Page 371. It is now time for our Simcha moment. If you are so moved to share a Simcha from this past week, may include birthday anniversaries and accomplishments and good news of any kind, we invite you to type them in the comments and just press enter. But here we're going to try something different. So if you can follow directions, be great. There is an X here, so you stand on the X. On? Yes. So my simcha is always on Parashat Naso, which is this week's Torah portion. It's the parasha under which I was ordained a rabbi 23 years ago. So it wasn't this day in the regular calendar, but it's always for me Parashat Naso, which happens to be the longest Torah portion of the entire Torah. I don't know if it means anything. I mean, it's all right. So the X is here. If anybody would like, do it.
And while folks are walking up, I will share mine. My parents are here, back in the corner back there. I got to hug my mom and dad for the first time in a year. And tomorrow I get to see my brother for the first time in about a year and a half. So, and then I have all these guys, which always makes me very happy. So.
Go ahead. Whoever gets there first gets to go first.
What am I supposed to do?
Just talk. Just to tell us your simcha.
My birthday was yesterday.
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
You can go back to your seat.
It's okay, you don't have to.
He will pick it up.
Say
Just
your name. Say
speak.
your name.
My name is Florence, and I finished all my schoolwork in school
Congratulations.
for the week. I still have 1 week of school left.
Wonderful.
Wow.
And my wonderful thing is I only have 3 more days of doing online school with Florence. And that I have in my orchard 10 trees planted so far.
Wonderful.
Oh, yay. We expect to see that fruit next season.
Gloria Pittler.
And Howard Pittler, and Wednesday was our 48th anniversary.
The first person was Linda Zapula, if you didn't catch it. Because with a mask, it's very hard to tell who they are, right?
Yes.
So Jim and Lainey Decker, and our simcha this week is that both of our teenage sons started summer jobs this week.
Mazel tov.
And last week was our 20th anniversary.
Mazel tov. Today I have a poem. It's actually one of my favorite poems in the collection of poems by Ruth Brin that I often use. The collection is called Harvest, and this is her poem for Parashat Naso, and it's based on Numbers chapter 7. And you'll see right in a minute, if you've been paying attention when I speak, you'll know why it's my favorite right away. You will know right away. It says, the silver bowl and the golden spoon. Here is the tale of Nachshon, the young prince of Judah, whose faith was very great. Because he was the first to leap into the Red Sea, he was appointed first prince to bring his offering to the sanctuary. In humility and faith, he strode across the desert sands, bearing high the silver platter. Behind him came members of his family, bringing the silver bowl and the golden spoon, while driving before them the young animals intended for the sacrifice. It is a consequence of faith, be it reward or penalty, that one who has faith leaps first into danger, and one who has faith is the first to sacrifice possessions and even self. Today, the silver vessels of the descendants of Nachshon are not empty, nor is the golden spoon exhausted. Like Abraham and Rebekah and the young prince, they are people in our day who have faith and its consequent qualities, courage, and the ability to sacrifice. We pray for them that they lead us through the seas of despair to a place of peace. We pray for faith for ourselves, knowingly accepting its consequences. For with self-sacrifice comes true leadership, and with courage, humanity can leap forward. We now gather all the simchas that we have shared and offer a prayer. Divine source of blessings, we thank you for everything that enriches our lives. We turn to you now with gratitude as we share in the happiness of those who have marked their birthday, anniversary, good news, and accomplishments. Adonai, be with them now and always. May they be blessed with the strength to overcome sickness and sorrow, and with much health and happiness now and always. As we honor each one of you for the gifts that you bring to our sacred community, we join together in song to mark this sacred occasion. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחלנו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Since this is the longest Torah portion, this is not the longest message you'll ever hear. I promise. But this Torah portion manages to have some of the most memorable sections of the entire Torah. In this week's Torah portion, Naso, we find, I think, one of the best known passages from the entire Torah. It goes like this. Ko tevarchu et bnei Israel emor lahem. Speak to Aaron and his sons, and thus shall you bless the people of Israel, and say to them, Yevarechecha Adonai ve'ishmerecha. May God bless you and protect you. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God deal kindly and graciously with you. Isa Adonai panav elecha ve'asem lecha shalom. May God bestow favor upon you and grant you shalom. Shalom, the third blessing, perhaps the highest blessing. Shalom, we are left with that sound in our ears. Shalom. Some of you might have experienced this blessing during services, usually on the Chagim, the major Jewish festivals, and during the high holidays. The practice of reciting Birkat HaKohanim, the priestly benediction, harkens back to the times when the Beit HaMikdash, the temple, stood in Jerusalem. In more traditional congregations, even today, this is known in Hebrew as Birkat HaKohanim, the blessing by the priest, or the priestly blessing. And in Yiddish, it's called the Duchan, because the Kohanim would stand on a platform, usually the bima, as they will offer the blessing. And it's turned into a verb. Are you going to Duchan today? That's what they say. If you have not experienced it in a traditional congregation, I tell you, it's quite the experience. The Kohanim come in to the front of the congregation, and they cover their heads and their hands with their talit. So you don't see anything. You don't see their faces or their hands. But I can tell you what they're doing in their hands.
What are they doing?
Exactly that. A la Mr. Spock. If you know what I'm talking about. In Reformed congregations, we do not observe this separation between Kohanim, the priestly caste, and the rest of the congregation. So it's more common that rabbis or cantors would offer the priestly benediction at a bar or bat mitzvah, at a wedding ceremony, and also in some synagogues at the end of the service. The rabbi will go like this. Although the blessing has three parts, and it seems to really build up towards the last part, the blessing of shalom. Many commentators have asked, why shalom? Would it make more sense to be blessed with health, happiness, success, wealth? The Torah seems to imply that everything depends on shalom, that without shalom, nothing else has value. In Israel today, the Duchan is done frequently on every Shabbat, and in the city of Jerusalem on every morning service. In fact, the blessing is also known as Birkat Shalom, the blessing for peace. The new, and it came out of the print last week, so this is new JPS, Jewish Heritage Torah Commentary. I pre-ordered it and I received it by Rabbi Eli Garfinkel teaches, quote, that Israeli Jews frequently have the opportunity to hear Birkat HaKohanim seems appropriate because of the passage's third component, the blessing for peace. And this week, I could not agree more, especially when prayers for peace are in great need. Shalom is the ultimate blessing, yet saying shalom, which may mean peace, just doesn't seem right, just to leave it at that, peace. Let me explain a little bit. I'm not going to get too technical, but the word peace might be the common translation of the Hebrew word shalom, but the word peace comes really short when it comes to shalom. Some of you who have been learning Hebrew or not, when you say shalom, you say hello and you say goodbye, and it means all kinds of things. A very brief etymology of the word peace, and really of all its cognates in European languages, like paz, in Spanish. What language is that? Paz. Pace in Italian, paix in French, derived from the Latin word pax. Rabbi Garfinkel explains, pax describes calm, quiet, and tranquility, a condition that may be only an outer shell, end quote. So the idea of pax many times brings to mind the ancient Roman thing that they called Pax Romana. The Pax Romana was about 200 years or so time span of Roman history, which historians have identified as a sort of golden age. It is traditionally dated as commencing from the ascension of Caesar Augustus on 27 BC and concluding around 180 CE. Was it that wonderful, this Pax Romana? Well, not for the Jews, mind you. It wasn't. I just want to remind everybody that during these quote-unquote peaceful times, the Jewish people rebelled twice. Jerusalem was burnt down, the temple was destroyed, and the Jewish people, at least their presence in Judea, was obliterated and ended abruptly. It might have been a time of relative quietness and harmony across the Roman Empire, but it was no shalom. That seems clear. I am not suggesting that we abandon the word peace altogether. God forbid you go out of service. The rabbi said you can't say peace anymore. But I do think that peace conjures ideas of the absence of war and violence. And in this sense, peace would be akin to the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas, which we pray will hold, but not really shalom. The Hebrew word shalom is not connected with ideas of quiet or calm, but with ideas about wholeness and completeness. Peace without a sense of wholeness can subsist superficially and is often short-lived. The great 15th century Jewish Italian scholar and commentator, one of my favorites, I love saying his name, Ovadia Sforno, teaches on the words Vayasem lecha shalom, the serenity of shalom, which is equivalent to an infinite, unbroken, and undisturbed existence. Infinite, unbroken, and undisturbed existence, not tainted by punishment, something which is a future of life in the world to come. The priestly blessing is, as I said, known as Birkat Shalom, the blessing of Shalom, that the priests were asked to offer the people. And it refers to something that humanity, according to Sforno, has really never experienced. Shalom is the main prerequisite of what we sometimes call the Messianic age, where all violence between human beings ceases to exist, both at home and among nations, a time when no one will be subjugated by another human being. Our goal as human beings is to seek and pursue shalom as our highest ideal. Don't get me wrong. Yes, we must work towards a peaceful solution of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. We must care for the humanity of both sides, and we must support harmony and coexistence between the two peoples. But when we speak about shalom from a religious point of view, inside the sanctuary, when we offer the priestly benediction, when we say, Vayasem lecha shalom, may God grant you shalom. I'm not going to say the word anymore. Shalom. We mean shalom in this other sense, as an aspiration for humanity. In a famous prayer, which I often quote, by Rabbi Jack Reamer, he wrote, Quote, "We cannot merely pray to you, O God, to end war, for we know you made the world in a way that we must find our own path of peace within ourselves and with our neighbors." In other words, peace, as the absence of war, is something within reach, but shalom is something different. Many people, both here and in Israel, pray for peace, but perhaps not for shalom. They say, we want to live in peace, but they don't mean shalom. Nothing wrong with wanting to live without rockets flying over your head, don't get me wrong. In our search for a secure and quiet life, we forget to pray for shalom, to work towards shalom, to aspire towards completeness and wholeness. I mean, we tend to remember to pray for peace when things heat up between Israelis and Palestinians. But we do very little in between to work towards shalom. Yes, we can read about that this time is different than other times, etc., etc. But guess what? Every time is different. And yet the same in that there is no shalom. We need to be able to chew gum and walk at the same time. We need to be able to establish peace treaties and also work towards a world of true shalom. Please do not think this is new or unique to the 21st century Jewish history, that praying for shalom is important all of a sudden. Over 2 millennia ago, the prophet Ezekiel proclaimed in the name of God, "V'haita yadi el hanevi'im hachozin shav," and my hand will be against the prophets who prophesied falsehood and utter lying divination. Yan uveyan it'u et ami le'emor. Inasmuch as they have misled my people. How have they misled the people? This is what they say. Shalom, the ain't shalom. Everything is okay. Everything is shalom. But there isn't shalom. The world did not change. Shalom, the ain't shalom. The false prophets in times of Ezekiel promised a flimsy idea of peace. All is well. But in fact, there was no shalom. Because in God's eyes, as long as people are oppressed, as long as their hunger and poverty cries out to us, as long as there is injustice in the world, ain't shalom. There is no true shalom. Sadly, there are false prophets among us too. They proclaim that a ceasefire is enough and that we should not do anything else to advance peace in the region, that we have no partners, that lack of war is enough. With the prophet Ezekiel, we say, Shalom, the Ein Shalom. All is well, but nothing is well. We should not settle for just a ceasefire. We must aspire to do more. We must demand peace. We must reach for shalom. Yes, we must pray for a cessation of violence among Israelis and Palestinians, but we should not stop there. Shalom will not come about just out of the absence of conflict, but out of doing what is right, fair, and just. We must learn and realize that the best way for us to stand in solidarity with the people of Israel is to remind them and remind ourselves that Judaism values peace, but that above all, that our tradition teaches us to strive for shalom, for the big shalom with capital Sh. That vision of shalom must be the longing of our souls, the hope of our spirits, and the ideal of our actions, which will bring us closer towards a time of wholeness and completeness. שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו, ברך את מדינת ישראל, ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו, הגן, הגן עליה, בסרת חסדך, ופרוס עליה, סוכת שלומך, ושלח אורך ועמיתך לראשיה, שריה ויועציה, ותגנן בעצה טובה מלפניך. אבינו שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו, ברך את מדינת ישראל, ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו, ונאמר אמן, ונאמר אמן. Our service continues now as we transition to our concluding prayers. I invite you to join us on page 591. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved, each of us, for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. נאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. As we prepare for our moment of remembrance, I invite you to turn to page 595. יש כוכבים שאורם מגיע ארצה רק כאשר הם עצמם עבדו ואינם. They are stars up above, so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. If you're joining us this evening on our Facebook streaming or here and are remembering a loved one, your site, we invite you to type their names or say their names out loud. The congregation, we remember Charlotte Cohen, for whom we're observing Shiva, the mother and mother-in-law of Susan Cohen and Mitchell Krasnopoler. And the Shloshim period for Phyllis Lenski, cousin of Judy Weingarten. Lisa Jones, sister and sister-in-law of Cynthia and Mark Connor. Paulina Biderman, grandmother and grandmother-in-law of Vlada and Ilya Binstock, and great-grandmother of Emily Binstock. And on this Shabbat, we remember the following yortzites of members of our congregation: Lester Aronson, Jason Arkin, Riva Balanoff, Evelyn Dukowski, Ruby Fleider, Gay Franklin, Beatrice Glazer, Saul Gould, Rose Kaufman, Rose Klenock, Maurice Klutznick, Irvin Lampert, Milton Irvin Mann, Bernard Mishkin, Sarah Lee Optiken, Norman Reisman, Melvin Silverman, Henrietta Waxman. Zichronam livracha, may the memories be for a blessing. I invite you to join us in the recitation of Kaddish and Tom, the Mourner's Kaddish, on page 598. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמה דברה חירותה וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשא בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירם בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו
It's time for some announcements. First, I'd like to thank our wonderful music team. I'm going to start again from the farthest away from me: Michael, Susie, Larry, Howard, and Leslie. And our technical team behind the scenes, which was pretty extensive this evening too. Thanks to all of them. If you would like to join us for Sichat Shabbat tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., that's on Zoom. And the Zoom link can be found in this week's e-news. Our next Shabbat service is tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. This service will be live streamed on Facebook Live and on the virtual sanctuary. There is no in-person component tomorrow morning. And just a reminder that due to privacy health care regulations, we often do not receive information from hospitals or nursing homes. So we at CBT may not be aware that you have been to the hospital or that had surgery or something happened. So we need your help. would like us to know, get in touch with us or ask a family member to do so. You may also want to add call CBT rabbis to your emergency instructions.
A moment of apology. I just realized what that strange noise was that we kept hearing over the speakers. It was my earring knocking against my speaker. So those of you at home, if that was very loud, I apologize. I won't wear the dangly kind next time. Wednesday is our next song session. Okay, so Wednesday, the 26th of May, is the last Wednesday song session for the summer. Starting in June, we are going to go to the first and the third Tuesdays of the month. So it'll be twice a month on Tuesdays, the first and the third. During next week's Erev Shabbat service, which will be here Friday, May 28th, we will ask the rabbi about Jewish cooking. So if you're here, you will be allowed to ask your questions aloud.
That sounds dangerous.
God help us. And if you're at home, if you're watching on Facebook, you can type your questions into the comments, and our docents will help get that
Just to
delivered.
clarify, it's about the religious aspect of
Yes,
cooking.
the religious aspect of Jewish cooking, not flipping the omelets or. I have no doubt. We'll get that demonstration in the next time we do I've lost my place now. We are now multi-access. That's right, we're multi-access at Beth Torah. So we are finding ways to include everyone in person and everyone virtually. And we thank you for your enthusiasm and patience as we work all this out. It's so exciting. At least I'm excited. All right, speaking of food, grab tonight's to-go neg after service. There is a table out there with your snacks that you can grab to take with you. And tonight's to-go neg is sponsored by Lainey and Jim Decker in honor of their 20th wedding anniversary, which was on May 12th. Thank you. And if you're interested in sponsoring a to-go neg, reach out to Aviva at connect@beth-torah.org.
Thank you very much, Leslie. We want to stay connected, so please let us know how we can help you, and also make sure that you check with each other. We're still in the pandemic mode, so
Yeah.
we are all thinking about Israel, so we figured that we will share with all of you today what many consider the unofficial national anthem of the state of Israel. It is Yerushalayim Shel Zahav, and it could be found on page 660.
ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, עלו לכל שירייך אני כינור. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, עלו לכל שירייך אני כינור. אך בבואי היום לשיר לך ולך לקשור כתרים, קטונתי מצעיר בנייך ומאחרון המשוררים, כי שמך שורף את השפתיים כנשיקת שרף. אם אשכחך ירושלים אשר כולה זהב, ירושלים ושל נחושת ושל אור, אנו לך שירייך אני כינור. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, אנו לך שירייך אני
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Take care of each other
Take
out
care.
there.
Shabbat shalom.